Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story of standing up to rude taxi drivers and giving them a taste of their own medicine. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. Be rude to me? I won't be taking your cab then, and you'll have to lose your spot. I live in Korea where most people take public transportation, and there are taxis everywhere. One day I was running quite late, so instead of walking the 20 minutes to my destination from the subway station, I decided to ride a cab. Now, one of my biggest pet peeves is rude taxi drivers. Seriously, I'm paying you, I'm your customer, and you want to treat me like crap? Out of any industry in my country, I feel like taxi drivers have the most freedom to be downright rude because the customer can't choose to pay any less from the fare. There's no tipping culture here, and it's also highly unlikely that the same customer will ride again. Anyways, I've had my share of rude taxi drivers in the past, but being shy and passive, I always let it slide. This particular time, though, this guy was so rude and I was already late, so I didn't just let it slide. There are designated places where cabs line up and customers know where to go for a cab. I hurried over to such a place, and there were 2 cabs, as is fair. I went into the cab at the front. The old guy asks me where I want to go. The place I'm going's really a nook underground in between buildings and probably doesn't even have an address. Even if it did, I wouldn't know it. So I said the general direction and said I would give directions. He said, just give me the address and tap the navigation system impatiently. I said, I don't know the address, but it's close by and I know the exact way. I'll give you directions. He refused, asking me for the address again, raising his voice. I told him once again that I don't know and I'll be giving directions. At this point, I'm getting pretty pissed because this guy's wasting my time and I'm already late as F. Then this guy just starts yelling at me saying, "You think you know these streets better than me, young lady? I've been driving a cab for 20 years. How dare you? Just give me the address. How could you not know?" At this point, I'm flabbergasted and really pissed. So without replying, I just got out of the cab and stomped with as much might as I could muster in my heels, clip-clopping all the way to the next cab, only a few feet away, and got in. Everyone on the sidewalk, which was quite a crowd since it was a major intersection in front of a university, stared, and I kind of felt strangely proud. The new taxi driver seemed a bit surprised, but asked where I was going. I told him I'd give him directions, and he just sped off instantly. He was also super nice and friendly the entire ride. This taxi driver was seriously so nice. Bonus is that I purposely didn't close the rude taxi driver's door, so he had to get out from his driver's seat on the left side, walk all the way around his car, and shut the door in the back right. He was pretty embarrassed, especially with the crowd staring at him, and just drove away from his spot, which he'd probably been waiting at for a while. As an even pettier bonus, as we drove past him, I flicked him off. Leaving the passenger door open is way better than slamming it. They hate getting out to shut the door. Well done. And our second story. Friend wants free HBO. This story goes back to when I was in college, before the internet days and before anything digital, and the new thing was analog cable TV and HBO. The local cable TV company offered HBO, and the channel that it was on was scrambled. They would overload an interference signal over it, and it was unwatchable. If you signed up and subscribed to HBO, the cable guy would come to your house and on the utility pole outside would install a filter that stripped the interference, and you had HBO now to watch for a monthly fee, of course. My father and I were handy with electronics, and it was known in the hack circles you could build your own filter with just $5 to $6 worth of parts, metal box, tuning capacitor, coil, etc. Put it right on your cable going into the TV, turn the knob to tune out the interference, and boom, you had free HBO, no monthly fee. The story. I had a college friend, let's call him Sam. He was complaining to me one day that it would be nice to have HBO, but said it cost too much monthly. I tell him, dude, check it. All you need is $5 to $6 worth of parts, real easy to make a filter that you can get HBO. Goes in back of your TV. I'll even go with you to Radio Shack to pick up the parts and we'll make it. First thing he says, OP, is this legal? I say, of course not. You're getting something for free that you're supposed to be paying for, but unless you invite the cable company into your house and have them look at it on the back of your TV, no one would ever know. Modern digital cable systems, now that's a different story. He thinks about it and again asks, is this legal? And I have to repeat, of course not. It's not legal. So Sam says, okay, let's do it tomorrow morning. Next day, I see him as we're getting ready to embark on a trip to Radio Shack to get the parts. He says to me, okay, OP, let me ask you one more time. Is this legal? And I sigh and say, no, it's not legal. Sam says in a warning tone, okay, if this is not legal and I get caught from the cable company and I'm going to tell them, look, I don't know anything about this. I got this from OP. My mouth just dropped. The guy's telling me if he gets busted, he'll bust me. Chances of getting busted are incredibly super low unless you're incredibly stupid. And I realize he is. I tell him we're done. Offer's off. He just about gacks and realized he just effed up by telling me that and tries to backtrack. I say, no way. I tried to do you a favor and you told me how you'd pay me back if you get busted. Next day, he was still moping about the HBO. It's like giving him a free DVD copy of some paid software. It's not legal either, and you're not getting caught unless you're really, really dumb. And our next story. Fellow immigrant mistakes a nurse for a supermarket employee and gets really confused. Backstory. I live in New Zealand, but I'm from the USA, and I used to work in a few supermarkets here in New Zealand before I completed my training and started working in healthcare. I was leaving work a little late, and I ducked into the supermarket to pick up something on behalf of my mother-in-law. I was speaking with her on the phone to clarify her preference for the item when I noticed a young man with his friends patiently standing next to me, looking like he wanted to ask me something. I heard him speaking with his friends, so I knew he was a tourist from either Canada or the USA. I assumed he heard my accent and was waiting to ask me about where to find something or a Kiwi substitution for an American item. We immigrants gotta help each other. When I got off the phone, he politely asked me where he could find maraschino cherries, which I actually did know isn't carried by this or any local supermarket, so I advised no, but there would probably be some other options available. He seemed confused by my answer, so I offered to help. I took him to another aisle and showed him the candied cherries. NG, nice guy. I just don't know if they'll work with the cocktails I have planned for tonight. Me. Oh, sure, that's a bit tricky. There's some preserved cherries over here, but for something like that, I really don't know. But we can ask the liquor section. The guys there might have something. I led him to the liquor section, noticing he looked more and more confused by the second. I was wondering why he looked so confused. He looked even more confused watching me interact with the liquor section manager that we happened upon. When I came back and I let him know the only cherry options in this store were the ones I'd shown him and that there was an international grocery nearby I could give him directions to, he looked very confused. And then it dawned on me. My nurse's uniform was black with lime green piping. Guess what the logo and uniform colors of this supermarket are? I laughed and said, because I don't work here. NG. Really? Me. Yeah, I'm a nurse. Pointing to the healthcare logo on my top. NG. Oh, no way. OMG, I'm so sorry. Why didn't you say so? Me. I didn't realize you thought I worked here. I just thought you heard my accent and figured I'd know where to find American stuff, and I always try to help. NG, jokingly, saving lives by day and cocktail parties by night, huh? Me, laughing, at your service. We shook hands and wished each other well, and that's the end. Not a social justice story or anything, but I still think about it, and it's been 5 years. Hope you all enjoyed. If you don't have saving lives by day and cocktail parties by night on a t-shirt or at least a mug, it's a crime. And our last story. Someone started stealing my water. Caught him. Okay, so I moved into this trailer park 3 months ago. I'm not well off financially, obviously, so this bill's really messing me up. I live with one other person, we don't have a dishwasher or a washing machine, and we hardly do dishes in the sink. We both don't even shower every day either, so I honestly cannot figure out how this happened. Anyways, our water bill this month was $150 and says I used 32 units of water. Last month it was 60 and first month it was 30. We checked for leaks and there's none, but I've heard people walking around outside where my hose spigot is. I also often see lights on next door when I know the trailer's abandoned, and the first month a lady from the park was cleaning that specific trailer and asked to use my water. I'm going to pay the bill, but because of the dramatic increase, I pretty much can't afford food. I already put locks on the outside spigots. I own the trailer, but rent the space, and as far as I know, maintenance of pipes is done by the park. Update. Situation completely changed, and I know you guys love a good juicy neighbor story. I had my roommate move both our cars the other night and just waited at my window for a bit around the time I suspected the theft was happening. And sure enough, around midnight, my neighbor across the street walks up with 2 10-gallon buckets. So I took a couple of pictures out of my window. At this point, he sees the spigots were locked and he went back in the house. He comes out less than a minute later with a toolbox. He tries to get the lock off for a bit. I took a few more pictures, but he failed. So then he just walks over to my other neighbor's house and uses their spigot. And not only that, he came back and filled the buckets up, went inside, and then came back out and filled them up again 2 more times. So I'm not exactly sure what transpired, but last night I heard a ton of yelling and a gunshot, which isn't an uncommon occurrence in this neighborhood, so the cops got here pretty fast. Turns out neighbors were growing some illegal stuff in their trailer, triple-wide mobile home, and didn't want to fund the water bill, I guess. They were using it for all their household stuff too, and there was like 3 of them living in there. Cops took everyone away. Don't have to worry about them anymore. Anyways, rental company lady, she actually lives up the street from me and came when she saw the cops, said not to worry about paying rent. Water and gas is read off a meter, then added to my rent until they get it sorted out, and I won't have to pay the full amount, so I'll be okay and able to afford stuff this month. Yay! I guess I'm one of 5 other people on my street complaining of huge water bills, so I showed her the pictures, and I guess this is not even close to the first problem they've had with these neighbors. Surprise, surprise. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.